Last Tuesday, I walked into a 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. because I was starving after a late shift. You know that feeling, everything's closed, your stomach's growling, and those rotating hot dogs under the heat lamp start looking like a gourmet meal. I grabbed a taquito, a fresh sandwich, and one of those big gulp fountain drinks. 3 hours later, I was regretting every single bite. But here's what really got me thinking. I wasn't surprised. Deep down, I knew better. Convenience stores get millions of visits in Canada every week, and a big chunk of those stops include food. So I started digging into what we're actually eating when we grab that quick bite at 7-Eleven, and what I found will make you think twice before your next visit. Food safety guidance for hot-held foods often talks about time limits. But in real life, employees say roller grill items can sit out a long time, especially overnight. Think about that. A hot dog that's been rolling and sweating under a heat lamp for hours isn't exactly fresh. It's more like a science experiment in dehydration. The outside gets this weird rubbery texture while the inside somehow remains lukewarm at best. But the time issue is just the surface. Looking at 7-Eleven Canada's own nutrition data, one big bite quarter-pound hot dog packs about 1,080 milligrams of sodium, nearly half the 2,300 milligrams daily max that organizations like the American Heart Association reference. The ingredient list reads like a chemistry exam: sodium nitrite, sodium phosphate, hydrolyzed beef stock, and something mysteriously labeled as natural flavors. A food safety expert explained it this way: these products are designed to survive, not to nourish. They're engineered with enough preservatives to withstand hours of heat exposure, but that doesn't mean they're doing your body any favors. Now let's talk about those sandwiches 7-Eleven markets as fresh to go. The packaging looks clean, professional, even healthy. But flip one over and read the ingredient list. Some fresh to go items have very long ingredient lists, depending on the supplier and product. That's using every trick in the processed food playbook. Preservatives to extend shelf life, stabilizers to maintain texture, artificial flavors to mask the fact that these were made in a factory days ago, and enough sodium to make your blood pressure spike. The tuna salad has gained internet infamy as one of the worst convenience store items you can buy. Reviewers note the excessive mayonnaise, soggy bread, and a tuna mixture that tastes more like chemicals than fish. A bagel with cream cheese can land in the 400 to 500 calorie range, depending on size and how much spread you use. That's a significant chunk of most people's daily needs in what's supposed to be a quick snack. And because these are marketed as fresh in nice packaging, we trick ourselves into thinking they're healthier than the roller grill items. They're not. They're just differently processed. If you think I'm being dramatic, let's talk about 7-Eleven's recall history. Based on findings as at the time of making this video, the chain has been involved in some pretty serious food safety incidents. In September 2024, a supplier recalled 2,081 units of 7-Eleven branded fudge brownies in Southern California over undeclared walnuts, a serious allergen risk that could be deadly for people with tree nut allergies. In 2019, a listeria outbreak investigation focused on hard-boiled eggs from Allmark Foods used in food service, showing how quickly ready-to-eat supply chains can go sideways. 7 people got sick, 1 person died. Those convenient little protein snacks became a public health crisis. In 2018, about 2.5 million pounds of frozen taquitos were recalled in the US over potential contamination concerns. An example of how huge these ready-to-eat supply chains can be when something goes wrong. That's not a typo, 2.5 million pounds. And in 2016, some 7-Eleven sandwiches in multiple states were recalled because they contained Sabra hummus linked to a wider listeria-related recall. The sandwiches bore 7-Eleven branding, and while the chain wasn't directly responsible for making them, that doesn't really matter when you're the one getting sick. According to reports from food safety databases, 7-Eleven has been involved in multiple recalls for products ranging from sushi to muffins, all due to potential bacterial contamination. The pattern is clear. When you're operating at massive scale with complex supply chains, things can go wrong, and they have, repeatedly. One ready-to-eat item from 7-Eleven can contain over half your daily recommended sodium limit. The American Heart Association suggests no more than 2,300 milligrams per day, ideally moving toward 1,500 milligrams for most adults. A single prepared meal can blow through 1,200 milligrams like it's nothing. High sodium intake is directly linked to increased blood pressure and heart disease. And here's the insidious part: we don't taste all that salt. It's masked by other flavors, So we eat it without realizing we're basically seasoning our cardiovascular system for problems. The processed meats are worse. Those hot dogs and sausages contain nitrates and nitrites. While these prevent bacterial growth and give meat that appealing pink color, they've been linked to health concerns when consumed regularly. Your occasional late-night hot dog probably won't hurt you. But if 7-Eleven is your regular lunch spot, that's a different story. 7-Eleven does publish nutrition info for many items on their website, but it can still be hard to compare prepared foods quickly in-store, and formulations can vary. When you're standing there at 2 a.m. staring at a warming case, you're not pulling up nutritional databases on your phone. You're making a decision based on convenience and hunger. What you might not realize is just how significant those numbers can be. The items with readily available nutritional data are already pretty eye-opening. Those massive fountain drinks 7-Eleven is famous for? The Big Gulp, the Super Big Gulp. These cups can hit 50+ ounces depending on the size you choose. A commonly cited stat says 7-Eleven sells around 45 million gallons of fountain soda a year, often described as about 68 Olympic pools. Even if the exact number varies, the scale is massive. But here's what you're not thinking about. When was that machine last properly cleaned? Fountain soda machines are notorious breeding grounds for mold and bacteria. The interior tubing, the nozzles, the ice dispensers all require regular, thorough cleaning. Based on industry reports, many convenience stores don't maintain these machines as often as they should. And a giant soda can easily hit dozens of grams of sugar. World Health Organization guidance recommends keeping free sugars under about 50 grams per day, and ideally closer to 25 grams for added benefit. One large fountain drink can blow through that recommendation entirely. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough: temperature control. For prepared foods to be safe, they need to be kept at specific temperatures. According to food safety guidelines, hot foods need to be held at 60 degrees Celsius / 140 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Many convenience stores use heat lamps and warming cabinets, but if these systems malfunction or aren't properly calibrated, food can drop into unsafe temperature ranges. Former employees have shared stories of temperature logs being filled out without actually checking the temperatures, or of managers being more concerned about food waste than food safety. When you're grabbing that late-night meal, you're trusting that every protocol was followed. Let's get specific. A typical 7-Eleven cookie contains ingredients that may contribute to unhealthy trans fats, palm oil and mono, and diglycerides of fatty acids. There are non-specific flavors that are secret chemical mixtures designed to manipulate taste. The problem with vague, natural, and artificial flavors labels, they can contain dozens of undisclosed chemicals. For people with food allergies or dietary restrictions, this is potentially dangerous. Across their prepared food line, you'll find the same pattern: long ingredient lists full of additives that sound like they belong in a science lab. Butylated hydroxyanisole, sodium benzoate, propyl galatate. These preservatives extend shelf life, but at what cost when consumed regularly? Here's something that struck me in that 7-Eleven aisle at 2 a.m. On one side, rows of products engineered to be addictive: candy loaded with high fructose corn syrup, chips drowning in sodium, energy drinks with excessive caffeine. On the opposite side of the same aisle, pain relievers, antacids, digestive aids sell you the food that makes you feel terrible, then sell you the medicine to deal with the consequences. The irony is thick. A friend of mine used to stop at 7-Eleven almost daily: morning coffee and breakfast sandwich, Big Gulp and hot dog for lunch, late-night snacks. He figured he was saving time and money. Then his doctor showed him his blood work: sodium levels through the roof, blood pressure climbing, early signs of metabolic issues. At 34 years old, Mike started tracking his spending. Those cheap convenience meals were costing nearly $400 a month, more than a decent grocery budget. And that's not counting the health costs. He quit the daily habit. 3 months later, his blood pressure normalized. 6 months later, he'd lost 18 pounds without changing anything else. The puffiness disappeared. Energy levels stabilized. "It's not that I never go there now," he told me, "but it's once a month when I'm truly desperate, not twice a day because it's convenient." Turns out, 15 minutes of meal prep saves me hours of feeling like garbage. Look, I'm not saying never eat at 7-Eleven again. Late nights happen. Emergencies happen. Sometimes it's your only option and one late night hot dog won't cause permanent damage. But based on findings as at the time of making this video, here's what you should know. The fresh food isn't fresh, it's factory made days ago with ingredient lists longer than your grocery receipt. Roller grill items sit for hours under heat lamps, loaded with preservatives and sodium. The recall history shows repeated bacterial contamination problems, and regular consumption costs add up faster than you'd think. 7-Eleven built an empire on convenience, but convenience comes at a cost, higher than the price tag. Next time you're about to grab that taquito or sandwich, ask yourself, is this really worth it? Or could you wait 20 minutes and eat something that won't leave you regretting it 3 hours later? Your body and your wallet might thank you for choosing differently.